Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20, and welcome to episode 50 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. Today, I created a new room. Yeah, it's right opposite my wither room is where I put it. So, wither room, yeah, looking pretty good. And then, yeah, this is going to be my Pneumaticraft room, which is what I want to get into today. I've been saying for a while I want to jump into Pneumaticraft. A, because it's just a really cool mod and fun, and only because it's different, right? Like, almost every other mod has just, like, the RF thing going on, so once you build, you know, one RF thing, you're kind of like, alright, I can run the cables again. But, like, Pneumaticraft's power system is pretty much entirely, until the very end game, doesn't use RF at all. It uses air pressure, and that's a fun mechanic to kind of deal with differently. In addition, we get those awesome drones. Remember how cool the drones were? Like, there's really neat drone things going on there. And I would like to spend some time today getting into Pneumaticraft so that we have access to drones, because they are a really nice way to automate some things. And it's just a fun mechanic. So, want to get the infrastructure in place, want to get set up with it so that we can have some good times. Plus, there's a bunch of other nifty and neat gadgets, like the keep in stock thing. Like, I can keep things in my inventory. There's just a lot you can do with Pneumaticraft, which is super cool. And I'd like to do it today. So there is a manual, so maybe I should snag one of those real quick, just so that we have it ready to kind of go. And yeah, we'll jump in. Does that sound like a plan? All right. Let's do it. So I generally don't need the manual too much because I know Pneumaticraft pretty well. But it never hurts to have it just in case you want to reference something. In addition, I made the room, I made my warp scroll. I haven't made an area for the base yet. In fact, what I might do is make the Pneumaticraft book the icon for the room. So all we need is a frame. And we're also going to need, you can see I did a bunch of like the clearing out of things and stuff and all that good times. And yeah, that looks cool. What else do I want? I want from ours, the source stone, right? Yeah, let's go set up a quick warp scroll location. Now remember, because I always forget this. So remember, you totally need a full jar of source in order to make this happen. Looking good. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, so you're going to be my cool, and then you're going to go up here, and that'll be that. I like this, you know, teleporter-y room. Like, this worked out pretty well, I feel like. Nice, and then we can pop back here to replace you in the thing. So the source jars of mana are doing okay. Clearly they weren't full when I came in here, but they also weren't empty. So I feel like we're right on the cusp of too much and not enough. Now, somebody thought that maybe the mushroom up here is preventing this thing from behaving. Is that possible? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that's affecting it, the mycelial source thing. I don't know how a mushroom grew on that. That's kind of cool, though. But I don't think that that's messing with it at all. So maybe that having sat on the arcane pedestal probably would have messed with it. Perfect. And then you're getting consumed and you're doing the thing. Nice. I like it. And a lot of people are like, Dyer, why didn't you just make a door instead of the intangible spell? I mean, come on, how cool is this spell? I really like the visual appeal, and this is just my personal preference, obviously, of having a room behind a 3x3 of glass. Like, I think that looks cool. And being able to pop in there with intangible is even better, right? Like, that's just a cool look to me. And I did mention, did I say this on camera? I suspect that the timer turret here with cut has been harming my Drigmies. I'm pretty sure that's what's been going on with them. Now, the good news is when they die, they turn into Drigme Charms, which I can just replace on you, and then they get back to work. So, yes, they're getting hurt. No, it's not the end of the world. I don't think. My opinion, we'll see. And if it becomes a big problem, probably the right way to handle that would be to reorient or move the cut spell such that it definitely is not affecting the Drigmes. But we'll see. So anyway, we're going to want to get some compressed iron. Okay. And that's how we get most of the stuff that we're going to need for Pneumaticraft. Now, there's two ways you can do it. You can either blow up iron with TNT, and you lose about 75%, I want to say. Average material loss 20. Okay, yeah. So you get, I mean, 75%. So you really get 80%. Or you can use a pressure chamber to make it, and that's a 1-to-1, so you always get it. But making a pressure chamber requires reinforced bricks, which requires reinforced stone, which requires compressed iron ingots. So we're going to get, you know, a couple stacks of iron, because we have a lot of that. And we're going to blow it up with TNT, because explosions are fun. And that's all there is to it. Cool. Let's go find a quote-unquote save. And I never did move this. I should move this. One of these days I'll move that. You know, dire. I'll get to it eventually. Don't get me wrong. I should probably build a room for that, and maybe... Like, part of me wants to have a room and run a few of those, but the other part of me is like, they were really expensive. Do I really want to do that? I don't know. So how about, like, right in the water? Does that sound like a plan? I like that. That does sound like a plan, actually. So if we did... Hey, come back here. Right. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's make sure our magnet's off, because that's always something that I do wrong. And then have fun. Not too shabby. I was hoping the water would muffle the explosion a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. How'd we do? Yeah, so we got this many. We got this many to start off, which is not terrible. Okay, I'm going to put away some junk that I don't need. I don't even need these at all anymore, right? I would say no, because my angel ring that I have makes me immune to fall damage at this point. Right? So no more fall damage concerns for dire. What else don't we really need? I don't need you at the moment, or you. You can probably go in my backpack, as well as you. The flint and steel can probably go away. I'll hang on to the book, I'll hang on to the arrow, because I usually like just having that in case. The quiver, that can go in the back slot? I mean, that would be cool. That's also slot. Bracelet? Slot bangle, slot angel ring, bundle. Gadget, grid, legs, statue, bracelet. Hey, cool. That's neat. Like that. Yeah, that's pretty compact. Does this go? I don't think this goes anywhere. I think that just stays in your inventory, which is fine. Okay, cool. And then you guys are all enchanted up. I should check out my mana, by the way, because it is very slowly but surely just passively generating all the manas. Yeah, see? I mean, it's still running. That tree setup that I did, remember, a while back, working really well. Just putting that out there. It is running, and infinitely. With the whole logic, with the keep 2 stacks, of, yeah, all that stuff. Working really well. All right, so now that you're in place, we can get started on Pneumaticraft. Sound like a plan? So it occurs to me I'm probably going to want to autocraft with some of the things that I'm going to get in here. So maybe what would be smart is to get into... Yeah, I'm thinking my brain's cooking. Maybe we should get... From AE2, we should get quantum bridges running. So remember, we tried the single block thing, and we determined that it just used way too much RF, right? Like a silly amount, like that must be an error mistake amount of RF for the wireless thing from the AE2, what was it, things mod or whatever it was. So I want to do quantum rings and quantum link chambers. These things are pretty straightforward to make for the most part. However, the one challenge with them is where is it? It's the singularities themselves that we're going to get. Now, they're not too bad to make, but they do sometimes take time depending on how you're making them. So what I'm going to want to do is start making the singularities, then we can get into Pneumaticraft. And while we're doing our Pneumaticraft setup, it will probably have at least made 1 or 2 singularities, and that should be cool. So singularities, we need a quantum entangled singularity, which we get by taking a singularity, ender dust, and blowing it up. And we get a pair of singularities that are entangled that can allow a connection between 2 remote locations for our AE system. Cool. Now the way to get this is we need a 64K ME storage component. and we need a matter condenser, and we have to dump items into it, and it eventually compresses all those items into, and we can just dump cobblestone or something cheap in there, right? I'm pretty sure I've got a 64K storage component in here, so that shouldn't be too bad. We should also, while we're at it, teach this thing how to make this guy. Now, it looks like we have most of the things we need here, except for the energy cell, but that's not too terrible. Cool. Okay. That looks good to me. And then, in addition, we should teach it how to make this guy. But he also needs to, therefore, learn how to make Felix pearls, which also not too terrible. Cool. And those are all just regular old crafts, so we can just stick them in here and call it a day. Sweet. And in general, we need 8, I want to say, rings. So that should be no problem. And 1 of these. And then while we're at it, we should be able to get our matter condenser. Which I'm not going to do there. I'm going to do here. So if I ask you to do that, you're going to do all the craftings for that, and that should be cool. And that shouldn't take too long to go, I want to say. Right? There you go. He took a second, a little bit longer than I thought he would, but that's not a big deal. Let's get this thing set up and decide how are we going to handle this. Exceptional question. Don't have a solid answer just yet, but we will figure it out. So this is going to be one of those things that we rarely ever have to touch. So let's go stick it somewhere in a corner. Okay, so you go in there, and then anything that goes into the matter condenser will be condensed. It'll either be voided, turned into matter balls, or turned into singularities. This is the one I want. So we need 256,000 items to be voided, and then we get 1 singularity. Okay, so talk to me about cobblestone generators. Oh, look at this. CobbleGen tier 5. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. I think we can do that, right? I think we can. That should be a easy peasy CobbleGen for us to use. I just need some lava. And I'm assuming that's a visual thing, right? Oh yeah, no, it's totally a visual thing. Some water from my sink. And then we should be cool for Cobble 5. Sweet. Now, if I'm not mistaken from this mod, it auto-inserts into the bottom? Oh, nope, he's not auto-inserting yet. Maybe he auto-inserts into the top? Yes, that'll do. All right, easy peasy, right? If at some point I determine that I need this to be faster, we can absolutely speed it up, right? But for now, I think that'll suffice, because by the time I get my pneumatic area set up, we'll have at least 1 of these, and you really only need 1 singularity per bridge, and we only need 1 bridge right now. At some point in the future, we might need more. Meh. We'll figure it out. All right, so now that that's sitting there cooking, we can pop over to our pneumatic room and get started on Pneumaticraft, and that should be fun. Cool. So let's get our stuff going. Actually, maybe before I do that, I could do a little bit of auto crafting setup for Pneumaticraft, right? So I know that for sure we're going to need the following items on AutoCraft ready. I'm gonna probably want to teach you how to make the pressure chamber walls, and we should probably get more patterns while we're waiting here. Because we need reinforced bricks, and we need reinforced stone, so that's doable, right? We're also going to need, you turn into what? I would like, there's a bunch of things you turn into. I should not have looked that up, but we should probably get a liquid compressor. I think needs some stuff. Pressure tube, small fluid tank. I might be able to handle the liquid compressor. I think this one could be cool to use. Let's get a liquid compressor added and an air compressor. So let's do that, actually, yes. So I don't need you guys chilling up here no more. I'll leave that other thing because he is still on my to-do list. So air compressor, yes. Pressure tube, yes. That's one of the things I was definitely considering. Do I have a furnace in here on Autocraft yet? I don't. I should probably just throw that in there because that should be simple. Okay. Easy peasy. Is that enough of a start, you think? I think so. And while I'm at it, I should get the pressure chamber glass. And I should probably get the pressure chamber valve. And I should probably get the pressure chamber interface. These things will all be part of the multi-block pressure chamber. So the pressure chamber from Pneumaticraft, if you've not seen me use Pneumaticraft before, is a multi-purpose multi-block. Number one, it acts as a battery for pressure. So the whole power system in Pneumaticraft is air pressure. The pressure chamber acts like a big battery. It holds a bunch of air pressure that can be used later for other stuff. In addition, it's a crafting chamber. You put items in and it'll craft a bunch of stuff. A majority of the mods, auto-crafting happens there. And then that's why we need the singularity, because we're going to need to transfer the AE channels from our main base to that location so that we can hook everything up and get stuff going. So with that said, we've got a couple things. I think we're good enough to go for now. And then if I'm missing something, I'll come back and teach it the auto-crafting system, right? So that should be cool. So to Pneumaticraft area we go. So where should I put my pressure chamber? Should it be like the central focal point of the room, or should it be like centered on the back wall? How should I set that up? I'm thinking maybe, I mean, it could be fun. I don't know that I've ever done this before, but it could be fun to make the pressure chamber like the center of the room. And then we could use ports going off in like different areas, right? So like we could make, like, let's say this is the center chamber, right? And then we, run pressure tubes this way, we run pressure tubes this way, we run pressure tubes this way. We might even run some down. That could be cool. Would that be a neat way to go? I feel like that might be a neat way to go. I don't know that I've ever done that before. But that way, usually I just have it like in a corner and I have like pipes all over the place. This might be more of an interesting design. What do you guys think of that? So the pressure chamber itself can be a hollow 3x3x3, 4x4x4, or 5x5x5 structure. I'm trying to imagine how I want that to work, considering it's going to be a focal point of the room. I might start with the 3x3x3 and then expand to the 5x5x5, because the more space inside the pressure chamber, the more effort it's going to be to fill. And when I'm early game like this with Pneumaticraft, like don't have a lot of pneumatic stuff set up yet, it's going to take a long time to fill that 5x5x5 up. So let's start 3x3x3 and go from there. Cool. So this is roughly what the structure is going to look like. And as you can see, it can get pretty big. And we'll kind of, go through a lot of what's in the book here, mostly on just camera and stuff, right? So let's find the exact center of this room, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so I made this a 17, I assume by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I should go one deeper, just so that it's a straight up 17 by 17, right? So where's my destruction gadget? Let's make this a depth of 1 and confirm. And that should be cool. And then you and you. And you and you and you. And that's nice. Okay, cool. Man, I love having the infinite range AE system. Like, it's such a nice quality of life thing, right? Being able to do that. All right, so then you should be pretty darn close to the center. I might need to move you back one right now, and I think I shall. And that should be the center then. That looks pretty centered to me, right? Just eyeballing that, it looks centered. So this is what I'm going to call the center of the room, right? So with that said, let's get the 3x3 structure set up. So we're going to want, we definitely want to, there's going to be some valves. Yeah, let's get one set of them. We're going to want the pressure chamber interface. That's going to give me 2, which should be sufficient. And then we'll just start with, we'll get like, How many do we get of these at a time? 16 at a time? Okay, that's not too bad. Oh yeah, and some pressure chamber glass. Let's get some of that cooking. Because, you know, you always want to see what's going on inside your pressure chambers, right? So what I'm going to do then is build this guy. And this should be a pretty straightforward process, right? We're going to have the interface here and here. Okay. So that should be, I'm assuming, is blue input? I think it is. And orange is output. Yeah, no, bad multi-block. Bad multi-block. I might want... I'm thinking about how I might want this to work. But I'm thinking more than likely I would like the input to be on the left side and the output to be on the right side. That would be cool. Okay. And... Wait, it's 3x3x3 internal. Right. Right, it's 3x3x3 internal. Okay. So we're definitely going to need more pressure chamber walls. Okay. Okay. So something like that, I think would be good. So I think this is the smallest sized one, right? I always forget, because there's so many mods that are... So I guess... So this is... I thought it was 3x3x3 internal. So it is... Okay, so I am making the biggest one. Oh well, let's make the biggest one. Whatevers. It's all good. I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, we can handle this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the external. Alright, I thought the 3x3... must be a hollow. Okay, I thought it was 3x3x3 hollow. It's a hollow 3x3x3. My mistake. But it, again, not a big deal, right? So this is the max size pressure chamber then. Well, you knew we were going to be there eventually, so whatever. So let's have you be outputting on that side, right? So you'll input here, you'll output there. We're probably going to need at least another batch of these. Shouldn't be too bad to cook up. And then we want some pressure chamber valves. Where did I put those? Here. So you're probably going to want to go... I don't think it matters which direction they face. But like, well, that part matters, right? Like that. Okay, so then we'll be able to have pressure going in all 4 directions. And we might eventually have a pressure here, but let's start with just doing glass on this one. Okay. And is that it for this guy? I think so. I think that will be it for him. Nice. Look at it go. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. Was there like a pressure chamber glass? I wish there was a connected textures version of that. That would be cool, but I guess not. Okay, so items will go in here for crafting. They will spit out here once they're done crafting. And that looks pretty good to me. And then we can have pressure. And we can also replace the floor and the ceiling with pressure chamber valves. So if we wanted to run pipes, you know, elsewhere, we could. And this might be a good way to handle... So he explodes at 5 bar, really? But I think I can put upgrades in him, can't I? I can, I think. Volume upgrades? Maybe? I think we can put upgrades in here so that he can handle higher tiers of pressure, but if not, we'll kind of figure that out. But what I'd like is to be able to have like one central, all the pressure here, and then it branching out to all the others. So with that said, let's then get our pressure generators. So we'll have an air compressor. Okay. And this burns up just solid fuel. So for example, if I put coal in here, okay, now I think if I'm not mistaken, the back is where the output is for these guys. So what I might do, yeah, I like this idea. I could have compressors like this, And there's a reason I'm putting this where I am. But that's your connection, right? And we could do something like that. And then we could have another output that would run maybe this way across here, and we could have more machines along this wall. And that would be cool. And we could also go under, remember, if we need to. And we could have a basement in here, too. I'm not sure what we'll have in the end. All right, so this is the liquid compressor, actually. Let's see what fluids there are. This will tell you the available fuels and how much air per millibucket you'll get. So like LPG is the best. Liquid ethylene is equally the best. So we could make this with mechanism. Then there's also gasoline, refined fuel, which I'm pretty sure is from, yeah, thermal. And gasoline and kerosene and biodiesel. This stuff is a lot of Pneumaticraft stuff. There's diesel. There's other mods, fluids. So there's a lot of different liquids that you can use in here. Lava works, but is terrible. But if you want, you can. I haven't set up liquid ethylene yet with mechanism. That might be a route to take. I'll have to consider it. But let's start with a more basic form, which is just, you know, coal burning generator. And what I'll probably do is I will probably configure you to have a high signal required on both of these for now. And then we're going to set up a little bit of a smart automation system to handle this, right? I like the liquid one better because it turns off better. And what I mean by that is if you turn off the coal, it finishes burning whatever it was burning, okay? So if I turn this on, he starts burning. If I turn him off... Why are we leaking air? Am I crazy? What's going on here? Pressure chamber valve. I'm confused. I'm super confused, actually. Do pressure chamber valves only... Do I have to have them hooked up to a pipe in order for them to work? I mean, I can always just put them there later, but I didn't think that would be a problem. In fairness, I don't know if I've ever designed it this way, so... Are we happy now? I guess we are. Okay, cool. So anyway, as I said, with the redstone signal off, he's still running, and he's still burning up that piece of coal. And he'll stop when that last piece of coal is finished being burned. So the downside of the coal-based air compressor is that you can't turn it off immediately. You can turn it off. It'll eventually turn off, but it takes a little bit. Where the liquid one, I think, you know, burns up what it's currently working on pretty fast. And that's fine. Now, what I might do is stay within Pneumaticraft for this one, which means instead of going liquid ethylene, I'll probably go LPG. So LPG is a whole process, right? It's the refinery, the multi-block refinery, and the thermopneumatic processing plant, okay? And we have to get crude oil, which I think we'll have to find, or we can use, yeah, I guess pretty much any oil. And it'll either break down into diesel, kerosene, gasoline, and LPG, or diesel and LPG, or diesel, kerosene, and LPG. So you can either get all four liquids, just two of them, or just three of them. As you can see, in terms of LPG, you're always going to get 2 millibuckets no matter what. It's just whether or not the diesel turns into kerosene and gasoline or just becomes only diesel. But even so, you can see like it's definitely better. Now, there's processes to get kerosene, I think. You can refine diesel into kerosene. And you can also refine kerosene into gasoline. And you can refine gasoline into LPG. Okay, so you can break down your crude oil into all four, and then you can decide which of these four you need for different processes. And they each do different things. Like LPG is used for making plastic, which is going to be useful later in the mod. Gasoline is used for probably primarily fuel, I would guess. But remember, we can break it down into more LPG, right? Kerosene, I think, is also just a fuel, if I remember correctly. And then diesel, I want to say, is used for something, lubricant, which is super useful in the mod. So the main two that you want are the first one and the second one, excluding fuel. You know, you could use your kerosene, like I said, and your gasoline for fuel, and they can do a decent amount of power, I think. Where was the fluids thing? This one. Right? So like gasoline is really good fuel, kerosene is pretty good fuel. Or you might just want to get straight up, break them down straight into LPG. And because LPG is kind of the best fuel. But remember, there's some math to look at here, right? You get 80 millibuckets for 100 millibuckets of gasoline, so you lose a little bit. So you can sit down and do all the math, or you can just let it cook. So we'll have to find oil, we'll have to process it, and then we'll have to do stuff with it. Cool. So I'm going to leave you on for a moment. And the other thing I should do, and I never look at chunk loading, but I should have looked at chunk loading. But hey, good, the entire multi-block chamber is within one chunk, so that's nice. I got that going for me. So let's claim and load. Let's make sure that this area is loaded as well. Claim and load, that should be cool. And actually, not terrible. Like this edge of the room is not chunk is a different chunk. But like, remember, we did 17 blocks, so we actually did pretty good in terms of our chunk positioning. I don't think I complained too much about that. That's not bad. So let's do this. We've got you cooking now, and that's good. Now, the one downside with these pipes is you'll notice that there's a maximum bar pressure, right? 5 bars is the max we can get up to. And it's slowly but surely burning up this coal and increasing the pressure. Now, the pressure is equalized across all the machines. And this giant pressure chamber is a giant pressure sink, meaning it can hold a ton of pressure. But it's equalized, so that's why our pressure really isn't building up too much, because I did make the largest version of it. Now, luckily, I can tick accelerate, and that's all a good time. And you'll see my pressure start to build up. Now, pressure will go beyond the breaking point, which is 5. And the higher it goes, the more likely there is to be an explosion. So you could have an explosion right at 5, or it might eventually happen at 6. But long story short, if you let this go above 5 anywhere, you'll have an explosion. And you'll probably blow up your tubes. And that's a bad time. So we don't want to let that happen. So let's get, from Pneumaticraft, let's get the pressure gauge. That sounds like a good time. Now, is this the one that we can just stick right on here, or do I have to turn this into something? Might have to turn it into something. That's the safety tube module. Pressure gauge tube module. That's what I want. Yeah. This guy will emit a redstone signal based on how much pressure there is in the whole system. Now, there's an advanced version of this that lets you control how much redstone goes out based on your pressure values. And what I should probably do right now is make the wrench. Can I just use one of you, or do I have to use the pneumatic wrench? Oh, I can use you. Hooray. In order to upgrade this, though, I thought there was an upgrade. Oh, when upgraded with a module expansion card, this threshold can be configured in the GUI, right? But the module expansion card requires finished PCBs, which is a whole process, which we'll get into at some point soon. So for now, he's just going to emit a redstone signal relative. So right now he's emitting 0, as you can see. And soon he'll be emitting 1, and then 2, and then 3. So as this climbs, he'll start emitting a redstone signal. Cool. Now, the one thing to keep an eye on is it takes a while for the pressure in the pipes to pressurize. So you'll notice this guy's only at 0.25, 0.26. This guy's at 0.7778. It's going to take a moment for the air pressure to equalize across all these chambers and everything. So tick accelerating good, but be careful because this thing can get beyond 5 before this thing even hits 1, and then you'll be in trouble, right? But you can see now with 0.72, which is about what's in this pipe, we're hitting around the 1 signal, right? So what I generally do here is I determine how many blocks away from the pressure tube module we need to be before we turn things off, right? And what I could do is pop this guy over here for the time being, let the redstone signal run out this way, okay? And then basically, I wonder if I can do you with the redstone pen thing that I have. That might be cool. Can redstone pen be such that, not you, but you. Actually, let's do you. You think, is this like doable? And then, if I put a torch here, would that be cool? I have no idea. That doesn't seem to be affecting that, right? I think so. If I removed you for a sec, would you be on? Maybe. It doesn't seem to be... that would be creating a timer, basically, right? And, like, eventually... Yeah. That's kind of cool. Right? Kind of neat. What I think I'm going to do is just put, like, that there so that... Because it looks to me like Whale is not telling me the signal strength here, but it will tell me the signal strength here. So we have to wait for this to build up. Let's accelerate him again. Right? And then that's emitting a redstone signal of 1, and you can see that being lit up a little bit. You know what? I don't need that, because I can look at the thing to tell me what he's emitting. So yeah, and we can see which dust is glowing. Cool. Now, I didn't math this out, because lazy. But we'll see. I might just add another loop here or something. We'll let it go and then decide. Generally, I like to get it to like 4.5-ish if I can. Once it hits 4.5, turn off the air compressor. And that would be cool. And because we have such a big buffer, it's okay that it doesn't turn off right away. At least for now. Now, we can totally get this guy to be better. And we will over time. I want to say he's going to... Is it this one that gets and accumulates heat? Or is it the advanced one? I forget. I don't see anything in here about a heat value, so I think it might be the advanced version of the air compressor that generates heat, and we're going to have to deal with that. But for now, we don't have to worry about it too much. Cool. Okay, let's come back in a sec. So I think this is a good wrapping up point for the episode. We've got the basics going. Let's come back next episode. We'll have a little bit of air pressure built up, and then hopefully we can start, crafting stuff and doing things, and that would be cool. Right? For now, though, it's wrapping up point. So Darwell20 signed off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll come back next time and continue down the Pneumaticraft line because there's so many cool things in this mod. I can't wait to have access to them all. All right, for now, take it easy.